Perimenopause has me just woo. And I wish that someone would have told me this sooner. Ladies, be prepared. And today on the Simply Slay Live podcast, I want to get into it. So come join me. I want to talk to y'all about some of the symptoms I've experienced and some of the information I found out. And y'all let me know. Are y'all experiencing this? And for the ones that aren't experiencing yet, get prepared. Get prepared, sisters, get prepared. Let's first start by saying this. For those that don't know, perimenopause, especially in black women, can start 10 years earlier and extend out 10 years past. So you can start as early, some women have early onset perimenopause, but for most black women, it can start as early as in your 30s or in your 40s, and it can extend out all the way to in your 70s. It can keep going for another 10 years. And I was like, what? when I went to go see my gyn doctor, because it was beating me up, y'all. It's beating me up, and I'm only maybe a year in, and the symptoms were real. And I'm gonna give them to you, the ones that I experienced. And I want y'all to tell me, oh yeah, that's me. And you thought it was something else, or you listening to old wives' tales where you're like, oh, is that what it is? And one of them, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say it. First, I was prepared, right? Mama, grandmama, all that stuff. I was prepared for the hot flashes. I ain't even really had those. It's the night sweats that's eating me up. Now, my mom never had that conversation with me, but in the house when she was going through it, it'd be freezing. It would be just, whole house be cold, and you'd be like, I remember being in high school, my mama is cold. I'm gonna need you to, she said, close them vents, don't you touch my air. And I did not know why. I guess I know now, because I'll have the ceiling fan on. I have the oscillating fan on. I got the air on 68 at night. And then I will wake up drenched. I have always changed my sheets at least twice a week. I'm to the point now, I may be changing my sheets 4 times out the week, because it's that serious. I'm like, what is this? It is just like gushing with sweat, and it's just like, oh my God, I'm miserable, like clammy, just, it's miserable. So that was the first one that I was like, what the hell is this? And like I said, I was prepared for what they call personal summers, right? If anybody heard that, y'all know. I was not prepared for the night sweats at all. The other thing, I have been going through this. I'm waking up at 1:30, 2:30, 3 o'clock, 4, and I gotta be up at 6:30 for work. And I ain't going back to sleep. And that's on the nights that is not night sweats. I'm automatic. And when you were growing up, and the people tell you, like, I'm waking up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and I don't know why. And old folks used to say, that's because he trying to get you on the main line. Jesus trying to get you on the main line. You need to be praying. And I ain't being funny, but I'm being funny, because it was like, oh, Jesus, what you need to talk to me about? I'm a good Christian. And then my aunt kept telling me, girl, that's perimenopause kicking in. I said, I don't have that. She was like, okay, if you say so. And I didn't know yet. That was one of my very first symptoms, was that. And she was like, you better go to the doctor and have that. It's a test that you can have done. I think it's called FSH, right? And it tells you what your levels are. If you're in starting peri or have entered it yet, and all that stuff. So she was like, cause I said, no, I must not be living right or something. She was like, girl, please, you in perimenopause. And. And then the other thing I experienced, And this was, and I've told y'all this, y'all, if y'all ever hear me talking, I was like, I gotta jot it down sometime because I get, the brain fog. I was in a meeting the other day and I'm talking to a director and I'm like, I recommend that you do this. And in the middle of me saying that, why my mind went, woo, just that fast. And he was like, well, Rochelle? And I was like, give me a minute, please. I had to go back through. And at first, you know how you think. And I was like, I know what the hell this is. This is. And I got mad because I was like, you used to be like, oh, I just forgot just that quick. And that's how you think it is. And now I'm not saying that doesn't happen in some cases. But it was like that phase of, now I was just literally talking and it went completely out. And I was like, let me get back to my notes. And I was sitting up there flipping because of that, because I normally do have to write it down because just in case. And this was something so simple that I did it 1,000 times and I couldn't remember. So I never even had that part jotted down. I had to go back to where we were leading, go back all over the other stuff that were the important points that I wanted to make sure we went over in our meeting so that I can get to the point where it would make me jog my memory. So that was another thing. So be on the lookout for that. And that other thing that also was very, I know some women say they have the issue of, and like I said, mine were symptoms that were unusual. And for me, it was, I would wake up stiff, neck hurting, this, that. I said, oh, did I sleep wrong? It's something called stiff shoulder. That is a sign. And you may have honestly just slept wrong, but mine was coming on 3 or 4 times out the week. I'm changing pillows, I'm sleeping up, and I'm just waking up, oh, that hurt. Oh, that hurt. Your joints hurt for some people. And the other thing was for me, and I couldn't tell originally if it was my medication, my age, or what the hell it was. I literally, my hair was drying out. It was breaking. It was brittle. And I was like, this damn medication, is messing with me to that extent now. And I had been on the medication for about 6 years, and I was like, they must have changed the formula. What the hell? And yeah, talk to your doctor when you're noticing that. Like I said, they have a list of things that when you look at it, you'll be like, what? That's that too? And they were like, it could be one of the symptoms. And I'm telling y'all this because I did not see it come, especially because I already have pre-existing conditions and the stuff that I was chalking it up to. Actually, I was seeing the one doctor about this, and she was like, no, I need you to go over there. that's over there with her. So I was like, what? You will be surprised. This is why I'm having this discussion, because I'm a health and wellness coach. Now, I am trying to go back and do training because now I'm interested. I knew I had a little bit of training for the perimenopause. I did more chronic conditions because of my illnesses. That's what I focus more in. But now, I was like, let me move this way. I already do life and entrepreneurship and executive and stuff. I said, but I need to, just even for me, I wanted to find out more. There's things like, I have dry skin. I am, I get the misting oil and have to put the misting oil on and then put the cocoa butter on. And it's certain things that irritates my skin, right? Now, also I have an autoimmune disease, but it kind of upped up with the perimenopause. So some of the symptoms, I want y'all to be aware, because I was like, I'm fighting for my life over here. I said, and I really was. I was like, now what else gonna come down the pipeline? And because, you know, let's be real, ladies. We don't really talk about it. We don't really tell each other what could happen or what are some of the symptoms to look for, right? If y'all are liking this, please hit the like, the share, subscribe button, because I can have 1,001 conversations about this entering my health coaching phase. I honestly did not know some of the things that came up when they gave me that pamphlet. Like I said, I had about 3, 4, maybe 5 good ones, but there's a slew that you're like, that's associated with it, and you're like, yes. And so I trusted Google. I brought it up for y'all so that y'all know, and especially in black women, some of the symptoms in black women are different. That's why I said, I led off by saying, if you remember, black women can start perimenopause 10 years faster and extend out 10 years past when it's supposed to. That's one of the things with us. So I just wanted to make sure that I brought that up to y'all's attention. And while I am looking up where I had it at, because again, like I said, I'm going to give y'all some. Of course, you know, first it starts off with your cycle is going to change. You'll have to, and let me tell you, when you think it's over and done with and that you through with that, it'll pop up out of nowhere. Just get prepared for it, because then the count starts all over again. And when I say count, it's the count of how many days or how many months before you're actually into menopause. So, prime example, I went 8 months without a cycle, and I was like, okay, I didn't know perimenopause existed. This is just me. I didn't know. And I thought, okay, I must be in menopause automatically. And then where was I? I think I was in Malaysia. And it started. I was like, right? So I'm trying to walk to the 7-Eleven, right? I was sorry. I was like, I can't even believe this. Okay, right? My whole vacation jacked up. It'll pop up out of nowhere. And then I remember calling my sister. And I'm like, what? And she said, oh yeah, get ready to start your count all over again. I was like, and she was laughing. I was like, raggedy heifer. She was like, it is what it is, right? And I said, oh, okay. So that's one thing. So your cycle will change. Of course, I said the hot flashes and the night sweats. I haven't even really had hot flashes. Like, I see people beating up, and they be going in, baby. They be like, whoo, hot. And y'all seen them, and the beats of sweat come up, and they be talking about it starts from the feet and go all internal, and like you have an internal combustion going on. I haven't truly experienced that. The other night, me and my sisters went to a play, and all of a sudden I was taking off my jacket and putting it on. She was like, well, I'm getting kind of warm. Why is it warm in here? She said, I think you're in that stage now. And I was like, what? She said, but yours isn't that bad because you ain't broke out in a full out sweat yet. It was just literally, I was taking on my jacket and putting it off, because it would come in waves. So be prepared and be on the lookout for that. The other one is sleep disturbances. I told y'all, I'd be like dog tired and be in the bed thinking, oh, I'm fixing to sleep good. And then all of a sudden, 3 o'clock, looking up, looking crazy. Or the other night for me, it was 1:30 in the morning. And I had to go to work. And I could never go back to sleep. So from 6:30 on until I got home, and then I'm not going to go to sleep when I get home, because then I won't go to sleep when it's time to go to sleep. I stayed up till 11. And then that night I woke up at 3. I was like, you just beat me up. This is kicking my ass. So be aware of that, right? mood and mood changes. Let's see. So they saying irritability, low mood, brain fog. Brain fog is me, right? Also, anxiety and may appear out of nowhere. These changes are often linked to fluctuating hormone levels. See, and that brain fog is real. Because let me tell you, when I was telling you about the meeting, another reason about the brain fog, if y'all go back and look at my videos for this year, for 2026, you know, almost all year long, I was saying I was 53, right? And, you know, my bestie, my sister, she's like, oh yeah, you know, it's my 57th birthday. And I said, no, you're turning 58. And she said, where the hell did you get that from? I said, because I'm turning 54 in August. And she was like, well, you keep that lie. If you want to be older, be older. And I was like, huh? And she was like, no, you're 52 turning 53. And I said, no, I'm not. She said, I'm going to need you to count because I'm born in 73. Right? It's 26. My birthday is in August. So that's why in the last couple of months I've been saying, I'm 52 turning 53. In my mind, I was already there. And I was like, hey, it's a beast, child. It's a beast. So that happened to me, and I was like, okay. And that's when I was like, it's time for me to get to the doctor. But other ones, you know, and when I went to the doctor, because it talks about your estrogen levels could be low in these things, I didn't want to get on any medication because I already take so many medications. And I fought to come off of half of them. I used to take 20 medications between fighting with the lung disease, the things that came up with it, and my diabetes and all this stuff, that I really fought hard to get my numbers in check. And they were like, I wanted to take, my grandma and my mom used to take it, and my aunt had told me about it. It's called something like Mrs. Pinkerton or Miss Pinkerton, something like that. These little pills, you can get them at the drugstore over the counter. Not endorsing nobody, but that's what they used to take. And they told me I couldn't take them because I had to take blood thinners, and has black cohosh in it, and black cohosh is a blood thinner. And I'm gonna have to ask one of my friends, and if y'all know, let me know. Well, I said, what? And the doctor told me no. And I said, well, if it's black cohosh and it's a blood thinner, and I'm on a blood thinner, why not just remove me off of that blood thinner and let me take a natural supplement? Because I want something now natural. I want more natural things versus all these meds I'm popped up with. And because the minute I say, oh, I'm having these symptoms, oh, well, they can give you something for that. I don't want all that. Right? We know how that goes. We're not going to be in that vicious cycle. And that day I saw the nurse practitioner, not my normal doctor. And they were like, I said, I just want something natural. I said, it's not, I don't want to be on another med. And she was like, well, because of, you can't take it because of this. I said, what about pumpkin seed oil? And this is all just my conversation. This is not medical advice. This is not nothing. This is my experience. And they was like, nope, because it'll interact with the blood thinner. I was like, me and this blood thinner about to fight because y'all are saying these are blood thinners naturally. So why am I on this blood thinner when I could take something naturally? Nobody could give me an answer, which I got an issue with that. And so this was the regular, like I said, she was the nurse practitioner covering for that day. And she was like, well, you can go back and talk to your GN, you know, whatever, because I said, I'm not doing that. And her thing was to me, she goes, well, your symptoms must not be that bad. And I said to her, no, I'm just not that crazy enough to do that yet. I don't want another medication. So I've done more things. Oh, yeah. Oh, before I forget, you know, I'm on my health journey, right? after being, I just have to throw it in before I forget. After being swole up from all them steroids, I had got down and I was losing weight and I was doing good. And then I'm thinking, okay, I'm in this phase of I'm in my stubborn 20 that it ain't moving. I'm adding more protein, but I got to be careful about how much protein I add because, my diabetes, it could affect my kidneys having too much protein. So that's why I don't do keto. Whatever y'all do, that's you. But as a diabetic, you shouldn't be trying to get into ketosis. That's me. I'm old school. I've been one since I was 9. They told me to avoid ketos and ketones. So I'm going to take their advice from when I was a kid and move forward. So I was like, I'm trying to add more protein. I'm adding more weight, like lifting and stuff. And I was like, I can't budge. I'm walking every day. Me and Kennedy getting out there twice a day. I wake up, get on the treadmill, and then in the evening I take him for his walk. I'm on it. I'm on it. I had been started doing jump roping and all this stuff. I'm adding to it. And I was like, this crap ain't going nowhere. I was like, how is this possible? That's that perimenopause 15. That ain't budging. So be aware. And bloating. Bloating is another one. I can wake up out my sleep, haven't ate nothing fat because I don't eat after 7:30 p.m. So wake up, I don't eat till 9 in the morning, right? I don't go all day because I have medications to take, but I at least go from 7:30 to 9 a.m. I'll wake up just as bloated, swole. And you're like, what the hell did I eat? What did I drink before I went to bed? And you're like, I just had water. Symptoms. So be aware. So back to what I was saying. I ain't trying to be all over the place, but I'm just trying to make sure that was a key point I had to get in. Be aware and talk to your doctor and advocate for yourself. I'm going to say that, right? Don't automatically go with what they give you, because also look at things that may have side effects to your side effects of your medications, right? So something they were trying to get me to take also, you saying I can't have a supplement, right? Like black cohosh or pumpkin seed oil, but you're trying to put me on this, which interferes with 2 of my other medications. So that's what, ladies, be mindful of that. Have that conversation. Well, how does that affect this medication or that medication? And me just being me. Anybody tell you, you better be able to answer some questions. I'm just not going to take your word. And I want us as women and as black women also to be very aware of our bodies. Be very, very aware of the signs and the symptoms, and don't automatically take the prescription. Say, let me get back to you, right? Because I have found some ways to control it that are more natural, that work for me. And I'm also on this kick right now. I'm thinking I'm looking for a homeopathic doctor. What are those, DOs? Or I got to figure out what that initial stands for. I'm going to ask I have a friend that she was on my show previously, and she's a hospitalist, which means she makes the rounds in the hospital. And we did and I kind of suppressed that video, but I'm gonna bring it out because it's a really good video, and it talks about health in the black community. And so when I move it from private, I'll link it to this video, just in general about, the black community and ways to try to make sure our health is better. So I hope y'all like that. I'm gonna try to get her on here again so we can get more, talk about more questions for, women and menopause and black women and perimenopause and stuff like that. Hopefully she's not really too busy that she can make time for me. I'm gonna try to get on here. If y'all have some questions, guys, leave them in the comments, and then I'll try to set up a date, and I'll give y'all forewarning that, hey, she's going to be on here. So your questions, I'll take them and have her answer them if she's able to, right? Because she's a hospitalist, but she's more like internal medicine. But so that's with your most kind of general practitioners too. But she may be able to because some stuff she avoids with me because she's like, I need you to talk to your doctor about that because I have so many things going on with me. She doesn't want to interfere with the care of what's taking place with me. But she will say, ask them about this, or, you know, this is something you can try to kind of help subdue it some. But she won't give me, she was like, because I don't know your care, I don't have your chart, I'm not going that deep with you, right? Because she says, I'm not that specialist. But maybe she can just answer some generalized questions. I'm going to see. We're going to get into a conversation with her because, baby, I was not ready for this. I was not. And so I came on here as a witness, not as an expert, as a witness about be prepared. Be prepared and start talking to your daughters and your granddaughters. So when they get to that point, oh, this is what they was talking about. Like I said, I didn't know all these things could happen. Like I said, I could just see my grandma or my mama or my aunt just, they saying, oh, I'm just having a moment. I'm just having a moment. And you're like, oh, okay. Even in my 30s, I'm just having a moment would come out their mouths, right? Because like my aunt is 13 years older than me. And so the conversation wasn't truly had till I started coming through it, and she would say little comments like, oh, that's really this, and I'm like, whatever, no, that's not. And she was like, okay, and she, you know, she's gonna leave me alone. But she was dropping little hints, and I am letting y'all know what you think may be just regular things. If you're of a certain age, if you're coming up on 35, 40, especially as a black woman, start getting your levels tested. Start finding out. Start taking these things into your hands because it's some things that you can be prepared for. I know cutting back caffeine kind of helps it a little bit, but I can't tell a lot and not tell you waking up at 1:30, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't have to have a cup of coffee, and decaf ain't gonna get it. So I do have a cup of coffee in the morning. I'm sorry, I do. I don't want no tea. I don't want anything like that. I want my damn coffee because I'm half asleep. But certain things are able to help you. I know like edamame, soybeans, stuff like that, but you got to be careful with soybeans because of, you know, the research on that. But edames are good for me also because that's sneaking in protein. But there is other little things naturally that can kind of subdue it a little bit. And so I'm gonna see if I can get her on here so we can just have a general conversation. If y'all would like that, leave your comments below. Let me know. I am Shell. I am about to get out of here. I've been fighting it this week. I haven't got all my trips up, but my Mexico relocation trip is still set and planned 21st through the 24th of February 2027. If you all want to go to the website and look it up, blissfulsoltravel.com. I also have a Virgin cruise coming up in November of 2027. You're more than welcome to come along for that. And that's one that your significant other can come on. Usually I do women-centered trips, but the cruise, that one is the Dress to Slay cruise. We're doing a fashion show. Men and women, bring your best, baby. All right, guys. I love y'all. Take care. Again, thank you for watching the Simply Slay Life podcast, where we talk about all things to make what I'm going through while I'm reinventing myself, and so that you can see in real time it's happening. And if you're on that journey, you know you're not alone. Take care, everybody. Bye.